look at them, they categorize them, they look for primary source documentation about them, they preserve them. Those are all important things that
Yeah,
archaeologists
like
do.
I'm assuming that the quote unquote, even though I never quite thought of it in that way, I'm assuming that the experimental archaeologists are the ones that actually go and dig things up.
No, the experimental archaeologists actually recreate the objects and
Oh,
and then use them.
interesting.
So like instead of like digging stuff up, that's archaeology, that's totally important, but a lot of the time you dig things up that you don't know what they are or don't know
Ah,
how they were used.
right.
And like it happens all the time. And even for some of the stuff that you would think would be obvious, until you start using it, you're not 100% sure. So the experimental archaeologists will go, okay, here's this tool that's made out of bone. We're going to recreate this tool made out of bone, and then we're going to see how it functions. And one of the coolest things, like, that was I don't know if I want to call it like a discovery, but it was something that was sort of explained, or at least they came up with a reasonable explanation for one of the fleshing tools, which was a tool that was used to scrape like fat and flesh from the inside of a hide to prepare it for tanning. One of those fleshing tools, and it's prehistoric, it was made out of bone. They always had like a little hole at the top part of the handle drilled
Right.
through, and nobody could really figure out what that hole was for. There was a ton of speculation about, maybe it was like a lanyard so that you could carry this thing around or whatever. But none of the other tools that were used in tanning had that hole. It was only this one tool. And so an experimental archaeologist recreated this tool exactly how they found it in the ground. And then they took a string and wrapped it from where the tool was at the top of the hole down around their arm. And they found that it gave them a little bit of support, a little bit of extra leverage. So that when they were scraping, the tool wanted to tilt away from them. And this like lanyard would prevent the tool from doing that. So it was, it was a really handy thing that they figured out just because of the ergonomics of the tool that they were using. We don't know if that's actually what that was for, but we went from having no theory at all to having a pretty reasonable theory, because somebody actually went out and used the damn thing.
I recently watched a series, like a YouTube series, a history YouTube series about the history of paper money.
Okay.
And one of the things did I get Cura on this thing? Why? One of the things that I remember mentioning was like Chinese coins early in the day would have they drop elixirs. Holy shit! Would have a hole.
Okay.
And the idea was like, oh, if these things have a hole, we can just easily measure what their like we can initially measure big quantities of them by just sliding a string through them, right? And then we can just measure how tall it is, because supposedly all coins are gonna be about the same thickness. We have presumably the tolerance on it is like small enough that you can get to like the error on the total quantity is low. So like, oh, okay, so like, how big is a stack of 1,000 coins? Well, it's this amount, and you can just measure them by length instead.
Sure.
And
makes sense.
Yeah, and that was something that I thought was really clever. Like, oh, right. Well, that's how we measure this much coin. And then it turns out that like it was still like super expensive. Like not expensive, but still really inconvenient to like give a merchant a stack of 10,000 coins because things were going. Commerce was becoming bigger and bigger as things went on.
Sure.
So like they would just like started trading. The government just started handing people IOUs that said like, just come if you want these coins. Just come to the palace and we'll give them to you. And people just started trading those.
Right.
But I thought it was really interesting to figure. Oh, this is why these coins are whole. Because you just like fling like. Run a string through them and measure the length of the actual quantity of coins.
I mean, it's a totally reasonable solution.
Yeah, it works.
One of the other things that I love about this is like once they started moving out of the ancient era, but they started marking like for coins that were made out of precious or semi-precious metals, so gold or silver, not so much for copper coins. They would actually put ridges all the way around the outside that were marked at set intervals that were very consistent. So that way you could tell if somebody was coin shaving.
Yeah, that was exactly what I thought you were going with. That were like people, because like that's a problem with commodity currencies, right?
Oh
like,
yeah.
If
I mean,
your
if
current
you've got
like
a solid gold coin,
yeah,
you don't have
like,
to take a huge amount off of it, particularly if a lot of coins are passing through your hands. So like, you know, if you're working at like a customs house or something and a huge amount of coinage or even at an early bank, and a lot of coins are going through, if you're just taking a tiny sliver off of each coin,
yeah, you can break up a huge problem. Like
oh my
you can
God.
take like 2% of the actual amount of gold off of the coin and rake up a huge profit. And
yeah,
nobody
especially compared to the amount of money that you're getting paid.
Yeah.
You know, that was also a problem with like, you know, with jewelers and jewelers' assistants and stuff, because because the stuff is so valuable at such a small quantity, it's insanely easy to steal. That was it wasn't a theft actually, but it was it led to a change in policy, which was in the machine shops at NASA. If you were soldering some wires together, there were certain wired components that were made out of platinum, and the guys would solder the things together and then just snip the end off. Right? Well, it's all paid for. Like the whole thing is paid for. So the guys would just take the little cutoffs home. And after like 30 years, some of these guys had like a nice bag of solid platinum, like aerospace quality platinum, and they could sell them, to a jeweler for tens of thousands of dollars. That doesn't, I guess, really count as theft, but it does make you think.
It's not technically illegal, but like probably.
Yeah, but they weren't even looking after it. It's not like anyone said you can't take this stuff home. It was like, it's a cutoff, and it's a tiny little piece of wire. Who the hell cares? But you get enough of those together, and suddenly it's worth something. Yeah. So like even at goldsmiths, when in the old days, but even now. They would have like a little apron that was attached to their workbench and it tied around their waist, and it sort of like caught everything that fell out of their hands. Right. So if you had to trim something, if you had to file something, if you had to cut out a piece, all of those cuttings and filings would fall into that cloth and then would be reclaimed at the end of the day, because that powder, even just those little bits of filings and little bits of sawdust, gold sawdust, after 20, 30 years of working in a shop, that really adds up.
Like if you produce a little tiny bit of powder, of gold powder, is left over like every day for a year, 5 years, 10 years, that eventually it turns out you're gonna end up with a lot of gold, which
yeah, and it could end up being hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
So particularly back when, gold is obviously still very valuable, but it pales in comparison to how valuable it used to be. Particularly like in the pre-1492 era.
Because gold, a lot of gold came from the Americas.
Outrageously.
A lot of the gold reserves that Europe had access to came from like the Kingdom of Mali and like those areas.
And these were places that were really hard to get in and out of, and they were really hard to get gold in and out of. And in a lot of cases, the Europeans didn't even know where the gold was actually coming from. They just knew where on the coast they could go to get it.
Yeah, or like even earlier, like a lot of this gold trade happens through like the Islamic kingdoms, right? Like that is like the African tribe or tribes and empires would trade with like would trade with the Muslim North African like countries or and then
we get traded ever northward until it finally made its way into Europe.
Yeah, like eventually, like, you know, when the European countries would become colonial powers, then they would get direct access to the stuff.
But we're talking about, like, you know,
the 13, 14,
1500s. Yeah. So, you know, it's fascinating to think about like how unbelievably valuable that stuff is when you're considering about, you know, they were going way out of their way to save quantities of something that there's probably more gold in this phone than what they were saving, you know, on like a monthly basis. And, you know, this phone still works, but if this broke, I wouldn't even think twice about throwing it away. But
I'm assuming that they, like, you know, people try to recycle electrical components.
Some of that is recycled, an enormous amount of it isn't. It's one of the real problems with like the rare earths, and is that they go into a lot of technology, but the reclaim rate,
reclaiming it is really hard.
Yeah. One of the most efficient reclaimed precious metals is platinum, actually, because it goes into catalytic converters in your car to process emissions, and the platinum that's in there is actually really easy to get back out. So
yeah, because it's just like on the surface of, like, they make kind of like a platinum sponge, right? Like
Yep. And so it's relatively easy to get back out on the other end. And I forget what the percentage was. I read it somewhere of like how much of the platinum that goes into catalytic converters is reprocessed into usable platinum, but it's remarkably high compared to other. It was something like in the high 60s or low 70s of percent. Pretty good.
Yeah, I remember that like the first time I grew, like, you grow up this entire, like obviously the Italian term for catalytic converter is not exactly the same, but like it still has this catalytic word into its name, right? Like, and then like I learned chemistry, and like I learned what like catalysis actually means.
Right.
And it took me like, and then after a while they explained to me that like it's the same thing, like the platinum in a catalytic converter is actually there to act as a catalytic
as a catalyst.
As a catalyst, for a reaction that absorbs a bunch of like fumes from that you're carrying.
That exact thing happened one time with Josh. I was at a tobacco shop, and I was going to purchase a rare Italian-made pipe, and we were just like walking around in the shop. And Josh was like behind me, just like browsing shelves while I was haggling over this, you know, Brebbia pipe, which was a really nice pipe, but that's neither here nor there, because, you know, I just hear like out of the corner of my ear, Josh, he's like standing over next to a display, and he goes, "Oh, pipe cleaners," because like he had known what a pipe cleaner was. Like, you grow up playing with them, like they're like part of arts and crafts in this country, but he had never put it together that like a pipe cleaner
is actually what used to clean a pipe.
Right. Like that's what this very specific like bushy wire thing was created to do. There's one job, and it does it phenomenally well.
We have the same problem. We have the same problem. We don't actually have the same in Italy. So like my first brush with a pipe cleaner was when I bought some to clean my pipe.
Right.
I'm actually kind of sad. Like, I accidentally broke off a filter inside it, so like now there is like a piece of plastic that is like stuck inside my pipe, and I don't know how to I have tried to like clean it up, and I think I might just need to get a new pipe, which I've been meaning to, but.
What do you know which make and model your pipe is?
Not off the top of my head. I can probably figure it out.
Okay, I mean, did you get it in Italy? Because Italy is produces some phenomenal pipes.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I got it on this side of the ocean. I did not smoke a pipe. I have not started smoking pipes until I moved back here.
Because this is an Italian made. This is a Duratore, which is a beautiful pipe that was made by Armellini back when he was still alive. He passed away a few years ago.
I definitely did know that Italy makes is a manufacturer of pipes.
Oh yeah,
mine isn't exactly like great. It's fine, but I won't be too broken up if I have to like buy a new one. I didn't exactly like.
Well, get an Italian pipe. Show a little national pride.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to buy like a fancy Italian pipe, that's gonna set me back probably like $200 or something, which
that's
is
true.
funny. I might not want to allocate to a pipe.
That Brebbia, when I bought it, I think it was $250, and now those are like $500.
Yeah,
and this pipe, I bought before the guy who made it. I bought this before Armellini died, and I think I paid like $90 for it. And these are like double or even triple that now. And then what else? Oh, I had an old Savinelli, beautiful pipe. I lost it somehow, which is very frustrating. But Savinelli
Chat is complaining that they didn't get to see your pipe. Give me a second.
Oh.
How do I do this? Plus browser search. No. Window capture. That's how I do it. Add new source instead. Sure. Chrome Hangouts video call. There you go. Now see
Steve, in all its glory.
Show you.
This is a serious bend on it, and
what is the thing at the bottom actually?
So this actually has a filter. This is made out of balsa wood, and this filter is not designed to filter the smoke in any kind of meaningful way. What it does is it absorbs moisture, because this pipe is bent so aggressively. It tends to accumulate moisture almost like a
that is a serious bend on the pipe for sure. Yeah.
So that this shape is called an Paul, which is Afrikaans. Means uncle, and this is called, so translated it means the Uncle Paul, because the 5th president of South Africa, Johannes Paulinus Kruger, was a big time pipe smoker, and he loved really deeply bent pipes. So he was known, among his supporters as Uncle Paul, and so this shape got the name Uncle Paul, which is Paul. Yep. Can you tell I used to work in a tobacco shop?
I think it was Mark Twain that legend says that he had the guy to just break in corncob pipes for him.
Yeah, that
is
not
smoke them so aggressive they would crack.
Yeah, that's not legend. That is absolutely, that is true. That's attested in all of his autobiographical materials. He mentions that, and we have independent verification that he did that. So he would buy huge quantities of corncob pipes for very, very little money, and he would hand them out to this selection of people that he knew, and they would smoke them for, basically they're getting a free pipe, so they didn't mind, and they would smoke them until they were fully broken in and then give them back to him.
Because he went through a lot, like he went through a lot of them because he just like smoked them so aggressive they would crack.
Yeah, he smoked an enormous amount, and it's in fact he smoked so much that like he was kind of well known as like an expert on how to treat throat cancer. In terms of like home remedies for throat cancer, because he and all of his buddies ended up with throat cancer. So when Ulysses S. Grant was dying of throat cancer, Mark Twain sent him a bunch of bottles of wine that were supposed to be very, very helpful if you were suffering from the terrible ravages of throat cancer. And basically it was, decent Italian wine that had an enormous amount of opium in it. And as you would drink it, it would kind of numb you and anesthetize you.
The amount of drugs that you would get in wine at the time was kind of
was pretty remarkable. Yeah,
right.
Because they had wormwood wine as well, which had the active ingredient in absinthe.
Like isn't the origin of like soft drinks as we know it in like drinks that people would like brew with cocaine so that
that's quite literally where Coca-Cola got its name. Was because it contained cocaine. Now it contained a very small amount and it was taken out relatively early, but yeah, I mean without those sort of like early, back in those days, the difference between like a soda fountain where you would go to get a soda drink and a drugstore, they were oftentimes the same place. That persisted for years. So the idea that you would put medication in a drink like that, or even the idea that like you would do that without a prescription,
and by medication you mean cocaine, to be clear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, cocaine is a drug. Like these borders, where we've hardened up the difference between like hard drugs and prescription drugs are relatively new.
Yeah.
And I had to have eye surgery one time, and it's one of the few things where cocaine is actually the correct treatment. It's one of the few situations where you can get cocaine given to you by your doctor, and they needed to numb my eyeball and they needed me to be awake for the surgery, so they gave me cocaine eye drops, which made my entire eyeball go completely numb, so that way I could still have motor control over my eye and I could move it in the direction that they needed me to move it, but I wouldn't feel anything while they were scraping around in there. By the way, being fully awake for your own eye surgery is truly horrifying.
I've had I've had a couple of situations where they were trying to put it's not exactly eye surgery, but like essentially they were adding a layer of like eye skin on top of my eye.
Okay, sure.
To like try to treat this chronic problem that I have, where my eyes keep like drying up very frequently, and then I wake up and then like my eyes, I have gashes. I made a mistake. It's not great, but I'm not gonna
suboptimal.
Yeah. So either way, my point is like I kept asking like why they like a bunch of time I went to like basically the equivalent of the emergency room in Italy, being like my eyes are hurt and I didn't know your eyes could hurt, and that's a problem. Could we stop that, please? Yeah. And like while I was waiting, they would put like drops in my eye, and like my eyes would just go immediately numb completely.
Yeah.
Like on a couple of occasions, like, can you just prescribe this to me? Because this happens to me like often, and they would just always refuse. It was like, this is bullshit. Except that then I learned, okay, they have cocaine.
Right. That's why they want to these out. Yeah. Yeah, and I had luckily, they were able to dig out the piece of metal that I'd gotten stuck in my eye. But my doctor came back to me after the surgery and was like, we're like 90% that we got all of it, but in the off chance that we didn't, you're never allowed to have an MRI. Because in case there is still a piece of metal stuck in my eye,
yeah, being in strong magnetic fields
is
probably not great for you. Yeah,
yeah, because they could just pull it through my head.
Would not recommend.
Yeah. So no MRIs for me. I can have X-rays, but nothing with a magnet.
I think I remember that. I'm trying to remember actually exactly how that. Like, I don't remember if this is a fact or if I learned from like a TV show. But like there are like some low grade tattoo inks that contain like large amounts of heavy metals. Yeah. So like don't use them. They contain large amounts of heavy metal, but also that was like probably a problem with stuff like prison tattoos, right? Because you don't have access.
Irritation. Yeah. I've heard that.
And those are a problem if you want to get an MRI. And because
in an episode of MythBusters, they actually had like a little tub of like specifically like heavily ironed ink. And
I don't know if you want to look at my stream right now, but I don't know what I'm fighting, and this is honestly disturbing. I'm not talking about the bunnies. The bunnies are fine. It's more
what are you streaming on? You're streaming on
my personal, twitch.tv/theredmage, but
yeah. Hang on.
People in chat are accusing me of being a drug dealer, which
you're definitely not a drug dealer.
Just because I have said the word cocaine.
Just because you're trying to steal cocaine eye drops.
Oh no, never mind. They're all dead. You missed it.
Oh, I was too late.
Yeah.
Well,
I tried not to kill them. My characters occasionally counterattack, and they turned out to be lethal. I'm just like while we like we're chatting, I'm just like doing random grinding.
I think I'm gonna hit the hay. I gotta get up early tomorrow, which is weird. I gotta go in the office.
Oh wow, yeah, you are capable of going back to the office. I'm not at that point yet. I mean, I also don't have a ton of reason to do so.
Yeah, I kind of have to, since I store like an enormous quantity of data. So I can't just like take my work home because I can't move 100 terabytes of data.
Can't you like SSH into your computer at work and do things from that?
I sort of, but then I run in. At that point, that's not a data problem; it's a processing problem. Because I'm rendering this most recent videos in 4K, and
okay.
I'm rendering like a photorealistic chicken animation in 4K, and even though both of the animations together are less than 30 seconds long, it still takes forever to render.
I have like I was about to like, because like obviously I'm also working with several terabytes of work, right? For my for my data analysis that is involved on measuring extremely small differences between giant data sets. But it just realized that like actually performing data analysis you can do on from your computer, just SSHing into the place that has the data in,
right?
Pretty reasonably, because you just have to write programs and tell your computer, hey, run these. But obviously, if you're working on video animations, that's a slightly different issue.
It's a little different. You can't do that as effectively remotely because any amount of delay just makes it impossible. So,
right.
Yeah. But I do just like set it up to bake overnight. So like I will make right at the end of the day, I will make like 1 billion changes and then just let it render overnight. These aren't too bad because I moved this entire project onto I have two 2 terabyte solid state drives, and I just moved the whole project onto my solid state drive, so I don't have to spin anything up, and that's helped a lot. And then when the project's finished, I'll just move the whole project over onto my like mini server that I run that holds all of my data. It's crazy. I mean, especially now that folks are shooting in like 4, 6, 8K, my data consumption has just grown
significant amount of Ks.
Oh my god, yeah, and and then of course, like, it's one thing to be like, all right, you've shot all this footage, but now I'm having to animate. I'm having to animate over 4K footage in real time. So I'm using their 4K footage as a backplate, and then cutting it up with masks and putting different pieces of 4K footage into 3D space, so that way I can get the stuff that I'm animating to like appear like it's moving between buildings and stuff like that. Which also means I have to ask the computer very nicely to do a 3D camera tracker on that footage, but even that is nightmarishly hard. At least I don't have to do that by hand anymore, which is how I used to have to do it. Where you would just pick out like areas of high contrast and have the computer track those. Now I can just be like, track camera, and then solve for camera, and it'll produce a in-computer camera that fully tracks whatever piece of footage I'm using. And then when I drop things into that 3-dimensional space, it's already solved. I don't have to do any of that math, right. Which is really nice. Of course, I never did the math anyway. I would just guesstimate, but you know. It's like, if that building and that building form a straight line, and that building and that building form a straight line, I can triangulate. Like, I can get it pretty close.
Chat, I cannot tell what the last message that was posted means. Just putting it out there. That is, if you wanted to see the horrifying Cthulhu monsters that are now challenging me, they're back on stream now. So.
Oh man.
No, well, JPSS, you are forbidden to go to bed. Stay up and give me this viewership. Okay, sorry.
No bed for you.
But if you, Steve, if you want to go to bed, that's
yeah, I might have to.
Been really slacking with posting the bots. Do you think that I don't remember what we decided. Are we gonna be playing online again next week?
I think we are still playing
okay.
online. Yeah.
I think I think that could make sense was to just get to the end of this whole slab thing online,
and then move that over.
Yeah.
And then start anew with something else.
I'm not debating that. Part of the reason that I do say that is that way I have to have the whole series on my channel, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Votes for all of it, rather than just like tell people that are watching us, which aren't many. But
hey.
Oh no! By the way, this series just doesn't have an end. We started putting pets on again. I've been thinking about whether we would like to edit some of the recordings, because Josh has recordings for a bunch of sessions, right?
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about, like, maybe we can edit some of those into a podcast of some sort. But then, like, the other problem is that, like, who would do that? And, like, I don't have a way.
Luckily, you know a professional media editor. That's literally my job.
The problem is that I can't figure out a way of like doing that. It wouldn't require like several hours of
that's
several
the problem. Like, anytime you're doing a stream, it's just long. So what we might want to do is do like a discrete gameplay for a podcast where we just only do it in chunks that are like half an hour. You know?
I mean, it's
like, we've designed this fast encounter. We're not going to dick around. We get in, we get out.
Yeah, but I think that there is value in like people, like the way that you have people come back to your podcast, like, or a way that you do that is just having this thing of like, oh, I want to like keep listening to this because there's a story that's like acts as
right.
a rouge.
That's true. Yeah. Well,
like
I mean, it still
the
might
thing
not
is
be
like I would like to do that, but also like I know that if I wanted to edit it in the way that I am thinking would be good, it would take me like, you know, several hours per episode, and I don't think that's like good either for me or like, you know, like, yeah, you are obviously like a media, like you're obviously more skilled than I am, but I don't necessarily.
You still
know
have
that.
to listen to the entire thing.
Yeah,
if you're
like
gonna edit it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
it takes at least as long as it did to play to edit, and usually twice that long.
Yeah. And like, you know, then like there's definitely like a number of things that you could do. Because for example, the things that like I'm doing at the beginning where I'm like telling people, hey, like listen, like why don't we talk about what the new things we can do? Like for example, I think that we could have done is at the beginning have an episode was just like everyone gives a 5-minute introduction to their character.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's something like that. But the problem is that like regardless of what happens, like I don't want it to put anybody in a position where suddenly it's these idiots again. I need to leave this place. These guys freak me out. Like I don't want to put anybody in a position where like every episode requires several hours of work because I know that that's just gonna put a bad. Like we all have other jobs. Like,
right. We all are doing something else.
Yeah. Like I don't want like doing stuff that requires.
I mean, there are ways
several hours of work is just a good way of making sure that like you do things while the enthusiasm lasts, and then you stop doing things, and that's my worry. Like,
well, I think there are ways of shooting it that would just streamline the editing process, I mean, I've worked on multicam live shoots before. And they're always hard in the editing booth because of exactly that reason. You know, if you're talking about a stream that's an hour or an hour and a half long, you know, okay, I'm definitely going to be listening to this for an hour and a half long at bare minimum. And even if all I want to do is listen to it twice, I'm looking at 3 hours of work. You know, and that's just to listen to it twice to fix it up. So yeah, I mean, let me think about it a little bit. There may be ways.
Like, I think it would be cool because like the game the game works in a way that, but like I think because the game isn't well known, you would have to like, for example, have to like when people use specific abilities, they have to put reminders of it being like, oh, this is what this means.
What is this? What are they talking about?
Especially because we're changing things left and right all the time, and.
That's also why I think it would be positive to jump back in. Like, if we wanted to turn this into a podcast, to start with a new campaign and say, everybody, this is what we're doing, you know? And so, when you do play something like that, explain a little bit. You know, it may make sense to all of us, but explain a little bit what you're doing to make it make sense for everybody else.
Yeah, because that would reduce the editing time. But, like, I don't know that, like, it also, like, there's the other thing is that, like, we're kind of doing this, like, I don't want to, like, put too much, like, you kind of have to strike a balance there in terms of trying to do things that, like, again, this isn't our job, we're doing this for fun.
Sure.
We don't want to warp the way that we have these sessions too much, because otherwise it's going to stop being fun and it's going to become work.
But I think it would be easier. I think it would be.
I think there's definitely a balance you can strike there, but it makes sense. But.
And it's always easier to do that in camera, right? Rather than having to shunt that on to whoever's in the editing booth.
True. Although, like, if you were doing that in an editing booth, you could make it probably look a little cooler. Where, like, for example, now instead of like shooting from the map of you get to cut to like the person that is doing X, like explaining it, you know, like. But again, that adds time. It's like this is the thing where like I could not find when I was thinking about it, I could not find a good solution where the thing that I was trying to do was both times economical in terms of time and looked good. But if we wanted, like, if you're kind of in for this, like, that could be a cool thing. I'm kind of down to like lend you my help.
Well, let's give it some thought because you know. It sounds like a neat project, and if we're only doing one of these a week, that's not too diabolical.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll give it some thought.
Yeah, we can think about it. Again, you have my sword. If
Okay.
if this is if the, like I'm down, I'm definitely down to like put effort into it, but also like my capabilities in terms of like doing this are more limited than yours. But
Yeah,
for in the
nice
like
thing,
I think it would be really cool to have some sort of like to like put what we're doing out there. There is also the other matter that like it could be like a good way to help publicize what Josh is doing if we get to reach people.
I'm thinking about this from a marketing perspective.
Yeah, like, but also there is a matter of like, then we have to think about exactly. Oh, again, the job level. Hello. Oh, Galoof has mastered his job. Okay, like there is a matter of what exactly we're doing in terms of like, oh, is these like how much does Josh want to reveal? Because if we put everything out there,
sure,
then people are just gonna be able to like like if just Josh want to sell these things at some point, like how does that work?
We can't give away the entire farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of the folks who watch like Critical Role or whatever, they're not folks who are watching it in order to learn rule sets. They're watching it because it's entertaining.
True, but Critical Role also like leans on a game that is D&D that is like widely known.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that's absolutely true, but even if you were trying to learn, like if you were trying to learn how to play D&D, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, listen to Critical Role."
No.
If I was trying to get somebody excited to learn how to play D&D, I would be like, listen to Critical Role, because it's about, it's introducing people to to what fantasy role play is.
Yeah, for sure.
Versus like actually teaching them the entire rule set. So
yeah, I guess that the paragon that I have here is something like Dice Friends, which is a series made by a comedy group called Loading Ready Run, which I tend to follow their stuff. And the thing is that they play short campaigns of like a bunch of different role playing games, and it's not just D&D, right? So like, right. I guess that the question is like, would I be able to play a game based only on what they're doing of the RPG that I don't know that they're running? And the answer is really no. But did I understand what was happening? Yeah, I did. Right. Like I had understand enough that like they gave me like a ballpark, like in our case, you kind of eventually get a ballpark of like, oh, rolls that are like, about 8 or 9 are like mediocre, and rolls that are 15 are good, and rolls that are above 20 are awesome. Sure. Like, and you don't need to have a whole background of how the game works in order to understand it. So
yeah, no, I can dig it. I mean, I think the other thing, we can start thinking about a multicam setup for live editing of, not for live editing, but for editing something that was live. It's always great to have a multicam, because I can set up multicam in Premiere Pro, and then I just click between the cameras and I can shoot live. Like, I guess not live. What am I trying to say? I don't set up a multicam setup. I can hit the record button within Premiere Pro. So I'm using something that we already shot, right? And it'll just play along a unified timeline, and I can click between the different cameras, and it'll record my clicks.
I see.
So if somebody, if Josh is talking, I can click over to DM cam, and it'll show Josh talking, and then someone says, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and I can click over to a cam of the rest of us who are playing, and then maybe we have one cam that's kind of looking down at the table or something.
Yeah, I mean, probably
these do not have to be expensive cameras. We could do this with 3 crappy webcams.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that like the first thing that we probably need to do is talk to Josh and see what he thinks. But like, I think that the Warden/Slab is a really cool way of handling role-playing games. I think that having some sort of presence in terms of like marketing it online would be really cool.
I agree. So we'll talk to Josh.
Yeah.
All right, man. I gotta go to bed.
Okay, yeah. I'll let you go to bed. Have a good time.
Good talking
have
with
a good
you.
night. Bye.
Take care.
Okay, Chat has gone to bed. Good night, JP. Also, I think that with Steve leaving, it's time for me to take my actual break. And then we'll actually try to do stuff that isn't just grinding randomly because I'm busy talking to Steve, which is always awesome. I love talking to Steve, but it does distract me. So I'll take 5 now. Since I didn't actually take my break earlier, because I thought that Steve would go to bed after the session, so we finished super late, but then he did. It was like, oh, we get to like talk about Red. We get to shoot the shit. I love shooting the shit. I will. I'll be back in 5. And we're back. Whoa, that is loud. Okay, much better. Okay, so let me figure out what exactly we're doing here. Because now we can legit figure out. Now that my undivided attention is back to being on the game, I can actually figure out why is my webcam so blurry. Okay, better. We can actually do some stuff that is a little bit more productive. You move here. Alright, so here's the plan. We were at more, we got all the stuff that we needed to get from more. Their next step is getting Catoblipas, which is a summon that we probably want. So let's do that. I also changed the batteries. Northernmost white. The other important thing that I did was I finally got around to changing the batteries in my okay, are you here? I finally got around to changing the color in my guess that's it. To change the batteries in my controller, so now my controllers are running a lot more smooth than they were before, which isn't saying much because my controller was acting as a complete garbage fire, but you know, value, I suppose. And you know me, I'm all about value. So we found a cave of some sort. We'll rest, yeah, sure, why not? We'll just hang on these chairs. And basically, that's some point in this cave, we will find a random encounter called Catoblipas. Wow, my cubes are I'm getting a lot of base. So Galuf died, which I would describe as unfortunate. These guys aren't here. These guys are not fucking around. Why don't you raise Galuf? How about that? Let's start there. Rapid fire is exactly what we want. I cannot wait to learn rapid fire. Has not been the most effective person in the universe. We cannot cast cure spells, area cure spells, sadly. Okay, one of them is down. Nice. That's also unfortunate. You get raised? You do get raised. Yeah, raise this idiot, please. Alright. Kuraga on yourself. Can we? Come on. Just Cura on him, I guess. Oh, come on! Just proc the damn thing! Like, how is it this hard? Why? Just attack him. 10 entire damage, nice. Oh, thank you. Okay, the plus side is 4 is a lot of ABP, so you know that part's good. We'll see. I want Galuf to be the next ranger, but I kind of need. I kind of need Galuf to. Does Faris has a sound ability actually? Does she have Mug? Slowly but surely. Okay. Ability. Where is she doesn't Mug, okay. That's good. Okay. Here there's Chocobos. Where? Okay, Magnetic Damage. Ironback. Okay, so Toad's Leap of Flash to heal those things. Golden Zombie. First Elemental Rings. Why do I hear about Angel Rings though? Is that because you can steal them? Okay. Ironback, stolen items. Druid. Oh, okay, so you can steal. Okay, in the Haven there are druids that you can steal angel rings from, which I might try to grind for later. This one's a female. We can't ride her. Hard. Okay. I have questions. Okay, so the thing is that in this forest now that we're at, you can encounter a thing called Chiroplepas. These enemies we all encountered at River Grinding. We just have to murder the turtle and then. Nice. I mean, that is kind of completely ineffective. It heals less than a single attack. Like, does. Oui? Three entire damage. Good job. Nice. Probably to think what to do with Faris next also, because she, like, once she's Master Thief, she is going to be mastering monks, and I don't believe there's like a black belt job in here. So yeah. Very good. Rapid fire when we don't actually need it. Perfect. Well, I mean, dealing 800 damage to the foes, and those things are pretty sturdy. Not particularly hard to deal with once you have once your melee character is actually in the front row, but relatively sturdy. Not gonna lie, like, I'm not terribly scared of Catoplepas once we encounter it. It only has 5000 HP, so that sounds pretty reasonable to deal with. There you go, there's Catoplepas. Perfect. Okay, but also stop doing that. You don't have access to Asuna. So why don't you just drop a gold needle? I think it's I'm pretty sure it's just that. Why Asuna on Faris? Evil Eye, yeah, sure. Gold Needle. Mug. Evil Eye. Esuna. Paris. Attack. Oh, we don't have blue, right? Attack. Shave another 1,000. Get Evil Eye. Mug again. Shave another 1,000 off the top. Oh, it's dead. Which means now we got to use the item Cut of Lepus from our inventory to learn the summon Cut of Lepus. And also, will somebody please stop? Will Galuf please stop doing whatever that is? Galuf can heal himself. Okay. So the next bit is that Bart is going to Bart said to learn level 3 ranger. It's just yeah, Zenti. So Mori isn't the easiest to companion, but it's pretty doable to BH. Like, it's not unreasonable. The only one I've had Mori as my companion, I was in the Vigilance deck. So that's, you know what, why don't you guys eat Shiva? How about we do that? Yeah, so like the only time I had Yumoria was in the Vigilance deck, so that's how that ended up working out. But it's like, it's hard, like, don't get me wrong. You want to if you end up in a blue deck, you want to prioritize Frostlinks again, because those are a way to interact with your opponent that is still a creature. Yeah, the mutate deck is another way that works well. Like, so the problem with Yumori, basically, as a companion, is that it lacks way to interact with your opponent. So, like, if you can find ways to interact with your opponent that are also creatures, then suddenly, yeah, that's a way of doing it. If you get mutate triggers, that's a way to do it. If you get Vanna's dead, which is unfortunate. If you get, like, basically anything else, that's also good. You know, like, you just need ways. Yeah, Cheering Harvest is a way of doing it. What? Where did Ferris go? What happened? What is the guy that they sacrifice a creature? Is that Children Harvester? No, that's Children Harvester is the discard the card one, right? So the bad news is they had not saved since we started playing. If you wanted to ask me why I had not saved since we started playing, I think the answer is because I'm dumb. So we threw like about 60 to 70 ABP under the bus, but you know. Let's go get ourselves a cut of bleepers. I mean, the Sacrifice Erasure one is has kind of been underwhelming for me, just because it turns out that it's hard. Like, it comes out at a point where your opponent likely has enough creature that you can just snap the one that you want, but you know, it's better than nothing. Like, Umori is tough to companion, for sure. Like, it's not trivial to actually get to companion Umori. But if you manage to actually get to a point where wow, that's a lot of damage. Level 4 Graviga, I think that's it works on these idiots. Yeah. Should have probably summon Shiva and just be done with it. But... Good job. Nice damage. Oh, you actually killed that guy. Never mind. Actually, good job. Okay. So, actually, I have an actual question for you. What do you think we should be playing in Standard, like, after Fires of Invention and Agents of Treachery campaign? That is because, like, you know, that's about to happen. It's gonna happen on Arena in only a little bit. So I was wondering, like, what exactly, like, so my first my go-to thing was to play a Jeskai Yorion control deck without fire. It's just the goal there is to just cast Inspired Ultimatum as like your big finisher, and just have Yorion as like a kind of a value thing that you can do later on. You have some planeswalkers. You have some omens, like random omens to stuff as your removal. You don't play like the white omen anymore because now you're probably not trying to support Luke anymore. It's a little weird that like the hand of cut completely the creature top and like. But it does feel like I don't know, like it feels that banning a 7-drop to a certain degree is kind of like very rarely correct. You know? I've been kind of unimpressed with Zagoth Mamba, I'll be honest. Like, yeah, you haven't played, like obviously, oh, okay, there you go. That is this idiot. Here, hit 1,000 needles. They're like 1,000. They're also needles. Thank you for casting Rapid Fire there, because it was gonna feel real stupid if you hadn't. Like, it's kind of like the same problem as... Okay, but also, like, what the fuck? I thought you had to only Evil once as a counterattack. Well, I mean, that was risky. Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. Like, Zagoth Mamba has kind of the same issue as the... like, Deadweight does, which is, like... This format isn't really aggressive in the same way that, like, a lot of formats were, but you need Deadweight to, like, kill that. Like, the last time we had Deadweight, it was in a format where you really needed to kill their Scanat Legionnaire. And it's just not their format, which is, you know, fine. But it's not like your opponent's gonna play a 2-drop that has to... No. It's not like your opponent's gonna play something that has to die in turn 2, like, very, very often. That's very, very few of those things. And the couple of things I can think of, like, which are, like, you know, the rares of these words, they don't necessarily even die to, like, Cheville doesn't die to it, right? Like, yeah, it's Shiva. The other upset, these things are... oh, nice. These things give you 4 ABP, so there is an argument to come here and do, like, ABP Grinding. Is these things are gonna die to, like, level 4 Graviga and Shiva a bunch, like... And I kind of get to, like, do this with having the sheep available to do whatever I want whenever I want it. In terms of healing, that's kind of an argument to, like, come here and... to come here and kill some iron bags for levels. I wonder why these things are called Decayers. It's just a weird name. Like, what is kiting and why do you need to undo that process? Okay, so here is what's happening now. I'm saving. I'm healing. And then we're going to look for Cathoblipas again. There he is, the big log. Oh, we got rapid fire. That's 200. That's 2000 HP just off the top. Actually, just gonna pass the turn there. Here's 1000 needles. Nice, rapid fire. So now any attack should kill this thing. I mean, okay, but also fuck you. Let's fire off a couple of gold needles. So that everybody gets the experience. And you're dead, right? They're completely unnecessary. Nice. Oh, only 3 ABP. Wow. I will now save again. Then I don't know what. Oh, hey, Chronos Quicks. What up? Oh, it's druids. So last time we encountered druids, we died. So that part is not good. But oh, hey, Geosphere. Hi. And yeah, thanks. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm just trying to. Can't remember. Can't remember. I haven't figured out how you are supposed to defend yourself for these encircle attacks yet. But they're real annoying. Mage. More importantly, now that I can't mug these things anymore. I don't know if they want to even be here. Meg. Yeah, Meg, that's fine. He's good. He's good. Magnet. Circle. Can't remember. Great. Okay. Now I just need to fade this guy and circle my last area. Magnet. The magnet's fine. Rapid fire one time? No? Okay, well, this still does damage. Image. Image is fine. Dealing me 500 damage is not ideal, but it's fine. Please rapid fire him. Image, sure. Magnet, sure. Really don't care about Magnet. Can you rapid fire him? No? Okay, good. Thanks. Discord. Just use freaking rapid fire. Can't remember. Okay, I'm gonna... there is a major that happens on helps image. The encircle attack is just, like in Final Fantasy VII, when one of your characters gets removed from battles and you die, you don't actually die because obviously one of the characters was still around. You just were punted out of the battle. It's kind of unfortunate we're Shiba in before getting to house level 4 Graviga, but like level 4 Graviga is still gonna be pretty effective against these idiots. I cannot wait for Bart to just learn rapid fire so that I know I don't have to worry about whether he'll be using it with his Ayate bow. He's just gonna use it every time. Four ABP is a hell of a number of ABP. I might just grind on these guys for a bit. Actually, you know what? Let's do it. We'll go back to the surface and save, because holy smokes, this place is dangerous. And I think now we can just go and kill some iron bags for ABPs. See if we can steal some angel rings from the people involved. Tasted. Interesting. FF5 may just kill everybody if I don't attack the same guy 4 times. Which I mean I did, but I could have just killed everybody. For ADP, so much. One job level. What is getting job levels this? I wonder if the monk also works with rapid fire. The main reason to do ABP Grinding right now, honestly, is getting boards to the to be a top level ranger. That is our main objective here. Druids also drop a thing called Angel Ring, which is real good. Okay. This guy are kind of super dangerous because of their Discord attack. So I think we're gonna go with Extreme Prejudice here and just tighten them. Queen Steel. Yeah, here's an Earthquake. Tasty. It's not dawning on me that I don't think I've actually ever defeat one of these druids encounter. I think I've literally always died to them. They do give you 5 ABPs? Holy smokes. This place is awesome for ABP grinding. What the hell? And eventually, there you go, Angel Ring, nice. Yeah, I want to. It's hard for me to express how much I appreciated Geosphere raiding me the other day. I have gained and showing up tonight as well. I've gained at least one person that makes a point, like at least like I've shown up the last couple times I streamed Final Fantasy. It's also just like, you know, just real nice. People show up, especially like late at night. It's just it feels nice to have people that show up for my stream that aren't like people that have to like directly know and basically bribe to be here. Or are like, you know, Tim. Like, Tim's fine, I guess, but I'm sorry, Tim, I'm kidding. Oh. Okay. Good chop, holy shit. Yeah, mark this guy. Summon Shiva. Level 4 Graviga. Paste it. Oh yeah, that guy is super dead. Okay, so we're never leaving this cave, basically. That is the 4 ABP, so many. So yeah, Galoof is pretty close to doing the blue mage. So you have maxed strength. She is, yeah, obviously magic. Yeah, no shit. Galoof I meant to be like, oh, Galoof is still like a really high magic. I think it's because he's a blue mage right now. Yeah, obviously. Faris, they have explained to Faris the concept of having magic, but that's not a thing that she's doing. Okay. Ooh, rapid fire, sweet. Should probably wear the angel ring at some point that I got. Couldn't steal. Well, here's Titan. Should I even do? Yeah, it's probably fine. Metal Gear. Sara here. Come on, steal an angel ring. You know you wanna. Potion. Fine. Danno level up. Equip. Fairies, maybe? You lose 3 strength, which is a pretty big cost. I mean, the strength is as low as it is. To gain 2 defense and a billion magic defense. How about... Yeah, okay. This is more like it, actually. Gain 1 defense and a bunch of magic defense. Yeah, that seems worth it. Yeah, I think like the 3 strength is pretty important for Galoof as he is right now. So. Oh, it's just these idiots. I mean, these idiots are dangerous because they can deal you like 800 damage, but they also like we can Shiva them and level 4 Graviga them, and it's pretty good. Rapid fire? Yeah, nice. Doesn't hit the same guy 7 times, please. Just hit somebody else. Thank you. Those guys should be dead. Yeah, nice. I also appreciate you surviving at 26 HP. Not gonna lie, it was pretty good. Vats and Galoof gained the level. I am now going to save. I'm not going necessarily to save, but I am going. I should probably save. Like encounters in this place are pretty dangerous. What if I wanted to go to the next? I think I wanted to go. So Okay. So the next thing, if we wanted to do it, was go visit Kido. But actually, let's actually really go save. I'm kind of not. I'm kind of into grinding here for a little bit because these enemies, while being hard, they do give you a honestly pretty reasonable amount of XP, and they give you tons of ABP. This is a great grinding spot. And we end up need to steal the angel rings. So, you know, like getting a couple more angel rings. I don't think I'm gonna like take a time to sell 4. If I need like a bunch, I can also like buy them. They only host I mean, only. They host 50k, so they're not exactly. Don't know why I mugged that guy. Got nothing to still left. But he's dead, so you know. What's up? We got Phoenix down. Nice Phoenix down. Okay, please don't encircle anyone. Rapid fire! Okay, so these guys are real close to being dead, is what I'm learning here. That guy is not very close to not being dead, all his smokes. Yeah, I don't see that guy super well either. I can't get over the fact they give you 5 ABPs. That is just so many ABPs. Rapid fire. You, my friend, had a potion, and for that you will die. Yeah, it's still pretty far, which is sad. Galuf is gonna level up and is gonna master the Blue Mage back into encounters, so that part's pretty cool. Please have it. Or, you know, dismiss. That's fine, I guess. Shiva. Mecha Shiva. Bam. The thing about level 4 Graviga is it's not that expensive. Like, it's only 9 MPs. You can fight out a bunch of MPs. On, show me potato salad. Or just show me a potion, I guess. That's fine, I guess? Question mark. Should have healed. I didn't. Another news. Up, we got canned. That's the healing thing, yeah. Unfortunate. Oh, I should have. Yeah, that was dumb. Yeah, like if Galuf goes before Lana, this is just game over. Like level 4 Graviga plus Shiva just kills this thing. It's just a matter that they usually go in the incorrect order. Okay, let's give Galuf a different job. I mean, Red Mage is just good to learn. I only have one Hayate bow. Like, the next time I'll probably put Galuf on its ranger, but I only have one Hayate bow, which is unfortunate. That's a problem there. I think. Do I have an extra Hayate bow? There's no way, right? Yeah, the best is like is the album bow, which is just I don't think good enough. It's fine though. We only need like 60 more ABPs before Bart's gets there. So Galuf can get some red mage stuff. L'albergamento on him. And, get some level for Graviga. Get Shiva. And just in case this guy survives, which I actually wouldn't even hate. Ferris can mug him, and yeah, this guy doesn't survive. But then we have to mug him and check. Yeah, Angel Ring numero dos, nice. We have to put it that on land, I guess. There's one ability and one magic, but we gain a bunch of defense. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, rapid fire is never bad. Here's a Graviga. Here's Kick. Here's Shiva. Rapid fire. For Graviga. No, mug the guy in the back row. Someone Mecha Shiva. Or just regular Shiva. Rapid fire. Have it? Potion. This is just an unconscionable amount of ABPs. It's just absurd. We're still like about 50 away. But... Alright, well. Let's hope for the best. This is a tough encounter. Level 4 Graviga helps. Have it? One time? Ah, I see. So you would just like start jumping your greater sandworm and just get there. Nice. But you just didn't have enough attacks. Unfortunate. Probably gonna stop the stream in just a second here. We did a pretty solid amount of grinding today. Even though I'll admit. I'll look at WMP script real quick. Fine, but just because you asked nicely. Ah, yes, import state. I see. Can you pause? This is absurd. So if anybody is watching this link in posterity, this is the link that team is being published. Yeah, no, I get it. It's real unfortunate. Oh, Ferris has 69 ABP in this level. Nice. Okay, we are 43 levels away. Maybe I'll wait until Bartz gets his next level in Ranger, and then just call it. I hope this is the last level. If this is not the last level, I'm gonna be very happy. It's gonna be very unfortunate. That's what I'm saying. Magio. How about that? Unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, we're both playing decks that have no interaction, right? Like, or very little interaction. Like, that's the thing. You're both playing Umori decks. That's the problem right there. Like, you're not... Neither of you exactly has a bunch of ways to, like, clear the way to your creatures. Here's level 4 Graviga, tasty. Couldn't steal. Shiva. Okay, but also, can you guys stop? Well, here's this big idiot. Angel Ring? One time? Yeah, nice! So, now we're only 30 away, so that's nice, but also... We have to equip you with it as well. Rapid fire. The fact that level 4 Graviga works on this guy is just so good. Like, it just helps a lot. Angel Drink one time? No, couldn't steal, no. Ka-ching. You mark that guy. That guy is what bankable. Potion. That guy dead. Oh, I should probably heal. I've just a bunch of MPs. Also got an angel ring, so yeah, I mean that's safe. Yeah. More reason not to. Yeah, this place is awesome. I will be honest, and I realized that once I needed to actually do stuff in a timely manner in this place and needed to like get in and get out, this place was terrible. With that said, once you're just by your ship and you can just save whenever you want and heal whenever you want, so there's basically no consequence, this place is great. Oh wow, we're actually gonna level up again? Nice. I'm also starting to have probably, honestly, unreasonable amount of money. It should didn't count as up to 1k, right? Yeah. No, actually, pretty reasonable amounts of money. I don't. I thought I had more. Yeah, I mean, the preempt just is game over here. But the roof gain a level, so I mean, you know. At least we got all the way to level 35 with the party. Paris gains a level. Oh, one encounter and we leveled up. Nice. Rapid fire. Oh, unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're one short. at the same damn time. Nice. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen now. Bart has mastered the Ranger, which means he gets to go on. He gets to change up into Ninja. There's a bunch of other stuff, but for now, Ninja is the class for him. Gonna put Rapid Fire. No, not animals. Rapid Fire. Please stop trying to use a dancing dagger. This is embarrassing. But that also means you have to go to the front road. You, on the other hand, can become a ranger now. And stop this buffoonery of doing whatever it is that they're doing. As a ranger, you can't dual wield, so that's awkward, but you can still get blue magic. So. And you get your Hayate bow. I think you probably want an Elven Mantle, right? Yeah, Elven Mantle seems better for you. Let's do that. And then you will go to the back row. And we can test how this party works. Now watch the glory that is rapid fire with a two-handed weapon. You have to attack 8 times. So Team, I don't know if you noticed, but I completed a combo of ability of one of my abilities of one of my characters. Now he attacks 8 times instead of attacking once. Okay, with that said, now that we have achieved the combo, I think it's time for me to go to bed. Want to thank everybody who sat down and was watching with us and was doing our stuff. I also want to thank Steve for just hanging out after the podcast. I always love just Steve and I just sitting down and talking about just random garbage. It's always really interesting. With that said, though, I'm sad to say it is time to end this stream. Thanks everybody who sat down and watched me, and thanks the Geosphere people to just make point, to just drop by. I really appreciate it. And I'll be back Thursday with more Final Fantasy. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.